From the darkness of the moon, from the ancient world of the living dead, he came. Mesmerized disciples dance, and death takes a murdering holiday.
Just when you thought it was safe to go to bed, Deathbed, the bed that eats, comes along to challenge you.
Don't go to the beach. Don't go don't go anywhere, really.
Don't go in the woods.
Don't go in the woods. Don't go
to the basement.
Don't go near the park.
Oh yeah, definitely not anywhere near the park.
Yeah, and most importantly.
So yeah, Deathbed, and also Death Master.
Double Death.
Sort of the unofficial Count Yorga sequel, I guess.
The other two Count Yorgas are coming out from Arrow.
It's not Count Yorga, I know that, but it just happened to be the third vampire movie that Robert Quarry made. So
Vincent Price's favorite actor, Robert Quarry.
Right. That's not true.
No, not at all. No, my boy.
Why did he hate Robert Quarry? Do you know?
He just thought he was untalented. I know there's like a story about Robert Quarry one time was singing and he said, Vincent, I'm such a good singer. And he was like, oh, you had another talent you haven't mastered yet. And just like walked away. Aw, cat.
So we got some positive response. That
Yeah.
was better than I remembered, says Tim.
Yeah, we're back. And little girls are cutting up letters and wearing their dead mom's dresses, the dinner. An awkward dinner. The most awkward dinner.
That scene was alarming.
Yeah, that and first off, let's talk about Kazukinski's house. What the fuck is that house? All the walls are black inside. There's a spiral staircase that has stained glass going around it. It's like he was living in a church or like a Gothic castle in the midst of the Hollywood Hills.
It kind of reminded me of the mansion from Blood Mania.
Mm-hmm.
With the spiral iron staircase and the dark interiors that look like a Chi-Chi's.
It did look like a Chi-Chi's kind of. Man, I tell you what, Chi-Chi's used to have that Cancun dish that was like seafood kind of burrito. I could eat one of those right now. Those are so good.
Chi-Chi's was really good back in the day.
Yeah. It was.
I remember when it first came to this area, I guess it was like the very early 80s. And it was sort of like a hacienda style interior. And it had all of these, like, it had like mafia tables at the back that had curtains.
Oh, yeah.
Them.
Yeah.
Nobody ever sat in there with the curtains closed, but I wanted to.
Oh,
I wanted to go sit in there and close the curtains and be like, fuck the rest of this restaurant.
I'm getting my own margarita and my own chips and salsa, and you will bring me extra.
Yeah, and all the servers, they were all women, and they all wore those low-cut dresses, too.
I mean, that's where the name came from, you know?
Is it?
Yeah, it was slang for tits.
See, I learned something that I didn't know before.
Yeah, it was started by 2 NFL players. So there's still 2 Chi-Chi's left in like Czechoslovakia or something, or Turkey. And
they haven't heard about the
no.
The hepatitis.
Obviously, the brand has continued that you can buy the margarita mix, and Ortega bought the not Ortega. Hormel bought the. They own all the Mexican sauce. Yeah.
I was bummed when Chi-Chi's closed, even though they really weren't all that good anymore. I don't know if you had been eating there before they went out of business.
The guy who was running their food business here eventually moved to King's because I worked for him later and did the ads for him. And I can tell you why people died because of how that guy ordered stuff. Like, he was pretty wild. Like, we were making Reubens, and he said, we don't need, just get rid, our food costs too high, so we're not going to order Swiss. We'll just put American cheese on the Reubens and no one will notice. And I'm like, I think Swiss cheese is an integral cheese to a Reuben. But what do I know? You know, I never read a drop before.
Look at the direction he steered that franchise.
Yeah, he did it. He steered 2 franchises right into the ground.
So, Mr. Kinski is a real creepazoid, and he plays this role a little too well, I think.
Yeah, the creepiest part is in the beginning when his daughter's changing.
Yes.
And
she's in the shower.
She's in the shower, and he looks in, and he looks like this to see her, and then he goes, "What's wrong?"
Yeah, are you all right?
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, you fucking creep. Get the fuck out of the bathroom.
I think she's as big of a creep as him, though.
Yes.
Yeah, they definitely have an Italian movie relationship.
It's depicted as if she's provoking him, and it's got that weird, like, fantasy thing going on there.
But also, like, her dad is just pounding all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he also has no ethics whatsoever. It's like, that's your patient.
Yeah. What kind of a doctor is he?
Not a good one.
Doctor of pervology.
I really think that all therapists are crazier than their patients, though. You know, I think that you have to be. Also, Kinski smokes so much in this movie. He's nonstop. He's lighting up. They're bringing out dinner. He's getting everybody else is eating their salad, and he's just like, or whatever they're pulling out of that bowl, those potatoes that they whipped out, whatever.
Yeah.
And they came in, and then that poor maid had been making stuff all day. She made those like chocolate desserts. Just ran in, just started throwing.
She's like, I am over this whiny little bitch that keeps fucking with my dinner.
Yeah. She came in, started whipping stuff around, and then like tackled the lady and screamed. And he's like, please stay. Like, I didn't want to be there in the beginning.
I'd be like, yeah, sorry, I gotta go.
Oh my God.
Got enough of this.
Yeah, like I don't like eating with people that I don't know that well either. Anyway, do you know what I mean? And it's not a my digestion's a problem. Like I have acid reflux. I don't need this level of lunacy while I'm trying to consume these potatoes or whatever they're. I have no idea what hot cross buns or potatoes or whatever it was they were eating. The print was dark, but
Yeah.
and that room was dark. A black eating in a room that's all blackness like that. I don't know. A-
It was upsetting and depressing, but that's another reason it reminded me of the mansion from Blood Mania.
yeah, I mean,
He lived in a haunted house.
he lived in a haunted house, and he also his daughter was like, "Why can't I wear my dead mother's dress and make myself up to look like her when we're having dinner with your new girlfriends and I don't want to be here? And then I'm just gonna rip it apart and just sit here in my bra top." And then, as we said, Bill and I said while we were watching it, she eventually, after this, she went on the streets and became Angel. So, is Angel a sequel to this? I'll let you decide that for yourself.
I was trying to figure out if it would be considered a spin-off or a sequel, if that was
Yeah,
true, if the
I
Donna
think,
Wilkes character carried on.
yeah. She looks uncomfortably young in this movie, though, especially the shower scene where she's nude. I didn't want to see it almost. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
this is not. She also doesn't really. She's built really young too. She's so thin, and it's just upsetting. The whole thing, the whole scene's upsetting with Kinski looking at her in the shower. It's creepy.
I don't know if that was daring at the time or not, because that was sort of something that happened in movies all the
Yeah,
time, is like these, underage girls were depicted nude.
like Pretty Baby. It's like whoa.
Hmm.
Bolero too. There's the one actress in that Olivia Diabo. I think she's like 15. It's like 70s are a weird place. Late 70s, early 80s are a weird place when you know. Kinski was a weird person too in his real life, as we all know. So this,
I think it was probably just a case that it just stopped being shocking,
yeah,
is why people stopped doing it. It just wasn't shocking anymore. And, you
or
know,
people came to their senses and were like,
yeah,
there's other stuff we could do."
it didn't work as well anymore. Let's just
Yeah,
say, because now people or maybe look at that a little bit differently.
yeah. It's like there was so- someone came up to Becca at her reunion and said something about like her dad had been like busted for sleeping with a couple students in the years between. She was like, "I don't talk to my dad anymore." Becca was like, "Oh, why?" And I found out. I was like, "Oh boy."
Was their last name Kinski?
No. But how weird is that when the daughter's also very much a voyeur too, where she's constantly using that whatever that is, that monitor to listen, which works everywhere. It's like a magical listening device where she can listen to people when they're down outside, or she can listen to the therapy class when it's happening.
See, there's our bit of science fiction for this
Yeah.
American giallo,
Yeah.
our thing that isn't quite real
Hmm.
in a
The
movie that's
magical
essentially a
white
murder
box.
mystery. What did you say?
The magical white box listening box.
Right.
Also, I think you brought it up when we were watching it. Does Craig Wasson live in the same building as her? Like, why would you live in the same building as your ex-wife?
I need answers to this, because it seems like they do live in the same apartment building. But then at the end of the movie, it was the office,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
I was confused about the locations in this
Is
film.
it? Do they live and work in the same building in some like Logan's Run type situation? And this in the future and we don't realize it? Also, why does he have a shitty pacer like car like Laura Mars? These rich people in these movies have the worst cars. I know you got to drive more in LA though, so you know.
I thought he was wallpapering his apartment.
Yeah,
And then I started to think, oh, maybe he's wallpapering the office, because there was that scene where Mariana Hill gets in the elevator with that creepy Schneider type guy from One Day at a Time,
yeah,
and he has that moment where he's cornering her in the elevator, and Craig Wasson is watching that happen,
yeah.
and he's in his wallpapering gear, that white oversuit. So where was he wallpapering? In their apartment building? I
Also,
didn't
you
understand
need
that.
to have well. I haven't wallpapered in a long time, but we did it when I was a kid. I don't think you need to have a special suit to do if you're only doing one room. Like he went through a lot of work just to do that one room.
Yeah, he wasn't as good at that as he thought he was.
No,
He
no,
bit
and
off more
like
than he could chew.
the wallpapering is a definite subplot of this movie. It's brought up more than once. Like at least 3 scenes revolve around it. That does it make it a wallpaper movie? I would say yes.
My grandma wallpapered the shit out of everything.
No.
Back in the 70s and even into the early 80s, her house had wallpaper. She wallpapered right over the light switches.
When we were getting the old kitchen ready at the old, at the old house before we moved here, in the many years before, I had to scrape through I think like 7 layers of wallpaper to get to the
Yeah,
wall, and it was like, no, never. I despise wallpaper now.
I kind of like it, but you have to have the right kind of room to use that in. Uh,
Yeah,
it's a little overwhelming.
you have
Um,
large flat surfaces. Not I don't know. Maybe you can hire Craig Watson to come to your house and wallpaper your house.
just I don't know, maybe give him an ankle bracelet.
Yeah, that's his work release. I have done wallpapering before. I have also killed before. He has to tell you before as he does stuff.
Like there were all these people I stabbed with a really long, sharp pair of scissors, kind of
Yeah.
like the one I'm using on this job.
He's like, one time there was this older, mid 40s, early 50s woman in a hot tub, and I sliced her all over the place. And then I just I put the hot tub cover over her like nothing happened and just walked away.
He was so cruel. He hated these people. Why did he hate them so much?
That's what's weird. Is some people he killed because they were in his wife's group, but some people he just killed. He didn't really have his MOs all over the place, and those cops are the worst. Like you said, well, they finally got here, and it's the end of the thing. It's the end of the movie.
But
Like,
he wasn't in the group, but that was what he was angry about, was he thought they were all talking about him because she was talking about him in the group.
yeah, and and also like she had left him, and he blamed it on Kinski and the group. Like that. That's what you know what I mean. Like she finally did. They
Yeah.
didn't. It's like they didn't know me. How do they know me? And all these people were talking. And really, she rarely seemed to talk in the group. It was mostly Doc Brown was doing most of the talking. He was talking about how he goes.
I know.
I go to the supermarket at 3 a.m. just to see another face. One night I went to the supermarket and everybody ate a girl. Oh wait, she's here. We'll tie into Messiah for you.
Mariana's great in this movie. I really like her.
Yeah.
But she's not like she's been in many other movies. Like she's a little bit more real in this movie.
She's very
I might
calm
say.
in this movie and not given to just absolute panic freakouts. Also, her hair is very well kept. At no point does she have a hairstyle where you're like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on? So
She played a lot of wild characters like Callie in High Plains Drifter.
yeah.
And of course Fredo's wife in Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
Where she got drunk at the wedding and they had to take her out.
Yeah, she has that look though. I think it's the eyes. She has like those haunted eyes, and you're like, oh boy, something's going on.
Yeah, they utilized those to the hilt in this film.
Yeah,
like the scene where Klaus Kinski, Donna Wilkes is peering out her bedroom window at them in the garden, and he sees her up there, and he leaves Mariana sitting there. She turns around and she's like, her eyes are giant. I love her. I could watch her all night.
I feel really bad for that kid that was trying to get laid and the body just showed up in the beginning. That poor kid. That's the real.
We talked about that on the second segment. Yeah. It's really a boner killer.
Yeah, and I like the cops are like just kind of the cops in this movie seem like unenthused with their jobs. Like if I got to see another one of these bodies, well, you know what? That's what happens. Shit happens. Do you know what I mean? You're a fucking cop. Ugh. I don't know.
This had a couple of really good kill scenes in it, I have to say, and especially like the one that really stood out the first time I saw this movie was in the house in the beginning where it was broad daylight and she ends up in this house, but it turns out to be like ramshackle and all the doors are falling whenever she pushes through them.
It's interesting because you think that there's safety in a house and it's not. The house is falling apart. Also,
Yeah.
those scissors are like lasers. Like when he's killing that lady in the hot tub, he goes like this with it, and it's like wow. And then
Yeah.
it's great because she's struggling, and all of a sudden it's like, well, time to die. And goes. "Wow."
It hardly looked like he hit her at all. That was
Yeah.
kind of unrealistic.
Maybe they're magical scissors. We just haven't realized it yet.
But we're talking about this kind of movie and saying it's unrealistic, which is really kind of not the direction you should be
I
going.
never want to go to group therapy after this movie. It really seems like I don't
No.
want to listen to other people's problems. It's not going to help me.
Either someone in the group is going to start stabbing the other ones, or they're going to all turn out to be werewolves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good.
It happens every time.
Yeah, movies have taught me, and the only other group therapy movie I've ever seen is Bad Dreams, and that doesn't work out good for any, or Dream Warriors, and they're the same movie, and nothing works out well. Also, Craig Watson's in Dream Warriors, and he leads group therapy for the kids. Did he learn anything from this movie?
Yeah, there were 2 scissor accidents. I remembered after I watched it. Craig stabbed Klaus Kinski accidentally, and then Donna Wilkes accidentally stabbed him in that scene where she kills him at the end.
I'll tell you what; those scissors are gigantic too. What are they cutting? Phone books with that thing? Those scissors
wallpaper.
But seriously, I guess maybe it was different back then. Today, scissors seem a little smaller, and just those scissors were just monstrous. Those are the kind of scissors your mom just has out, and you're like, "What do you use those for?" Those are the good Fiskars. Don't use those on your, cut out your crafts. You know what I mean? Those are the ones that get put out for company, I guess.
Chris brings up Color of Night, another killer therapy film, which is pretty good.
And it has Bruce Willis's peep in it, so that, if you're looking for that.
But is it really? I heard some talk online that it wasn't.
I don't think it. Anytime I see an actor's penis in a movie, I'm like, that certainly can't be his ween.
I wanted to believe it was Bruce Willis's just because I wanted to see it. But then when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, you don't see him. You don't see his head. It's all underwater. So it could be anybody.
You need the face and you need both heads in the shot so that you're getting it.
Not to be too demanding or anything, but
dear Hollywood.
It's okay for the chicks to be nude from head to toe. What about the dudes?
It's and maybe this seems I'm not being it seems shocking when male nudity happens in movies even today because it happens so infrequently. When it happens, unless it's a Jackass movie, and then it's just the whole movie, and it's just that's the whole movie. But anyway, I was glad to watch this again, and the ending is very abrupt, where you're like, like they cut it off, and then the cops come, and there's the credits, and everybody out of the theater. We're gonna run it again.
I wasn't unhappy. The movie had just started to overstay its welcome, I think, at the end of it. And I was like, okay, I wish they would just wrap this up.
Yeah.
So I think it moves along good.
Yeah.
It's not too boring.
No. Kazukinski taking out a girl near the water cooler, hooking up with strippers. I mean,
what was that about?
They were like, we got this role for you where you're going to probably have sex with your daughter. And he's like, okay, yeah, I can see that.
He didn't have sex with Donna Wilkes.
No, but he wanted to, or she wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're going to have a lot of sex scenes, and you're just generally going to smoke a lot. And he was like, yeah, all right. I got gambling debts. Let's do it.
Do it. Of course I'll do it.
Of course I'll do it. What? Yeah. My Kazukinski impersonation is very close to my Van Damme impersonation. So.
Well, you never did see them in the same place at the same time.
Wouldn't that be great if she goes to stab and suddenly Kinski jumps up and does a perfect split and and poses and says a wacky one-liner. The muscles from Brussels. The maniac from Danzig. That would be Klaus Kinski's name.
You want to know what I've been thinking about, Sam?
What's that?
What did you get in the mail this week?
Oh my God, I got a couple things. Let's see. Arrow sent some stuff. They sent me the Running Out of Time collection and a Fugitive from the Past. Those don't look as cool, so it's kind of hard to show.
Oh, okay.
These are from Mill Creek. Paranormal Highway. It's about a road in America. This is a true story, I guess. Well, true as it gets, right?
Someone told it.
Yeah. And who can you prove it didn't happen?
No.
It's the Beast of Bray Road, hauntings and apparitions in Wyoming, all sorts of stuff in America. Weird stuff's happening. This is a Tom Wopat movie. I talked about Tom Wopat earlier. County Line they sent. What else they sent? They sent Weekend Warriors with Corbin Burnson fighting a bear. I mean, I think we all want to see that. And then these are from our friends at Mill Creek. And it's a very Chuck Norris heavy week. It is A Force of One.
Oh, look at that.
With Jennifer O'Neill in it. And
it's a mystical triangle. With
a naked Chuck in it. Good Guys Wear Black, which is actually I really love this movie. I'm really excited about that. And The Octagon. So they're putting out 3 Chuck Norris movies this month, which is pretty exciting. And they're putting out more TV movies. So this is a 2K revised, I think it's a TV movie. The Mysterious Island of Beautiful Women, aka Island of St. Teresa. And it's got, it was written by Gary Sherman, who did Deathline, and Sandor Stern, who did Amityville Horror. Yeah, it's made for TV. It's got a ton of people in it. So pretty excited. Jane Kennedy's in it from Body and Soul. Leon Isaacs Kennedy's wife is in it. Peter Lawford and Clint Walker from Killdozer. So that's pretty exciting. I like that they're putting out more TV movies. Bill gave me these. These are my birthday gifts. I should show him, right? He got me Possession. He knows me so well. And he got me The Nesting, which we showed on the show. Finally, Bill, I'm super excited. Thank you for the gifts, by the way.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to show you this crazy thing that came in the mail. Mondo sent me this to review for the site. It's my giant-sized man thing. Right? Oh, it is a Marvel Comics Man Thing figure that they sent me.
Oh, yeah.
To review. Remember Man Thing? Yeah.
Right on.
It is a vinyl 2.5 foot tall figure. And there's 5 different colors to choose from. So I am going to open that up and do an unboxing video pretty soon for the site. But the packaging is really cool. Look how cool that illustration is. That
is far out.
Yeah, so
he's looking a little shaggy.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about it. I haven't opened it yet, but I had to carry it up the steps, and I'm like, man, it's unwieldy. It's not heavy, but it's really
He's looking shaggy. Someone needs to sell him one of those tools for grooming your man thing.
Yeah. I like on the side it says, "This is your giant size man thing." On the side of it. So yeah, look for that.
Everybody feels good about buying that, right?
Oh yeah, it's a $300 thing. They said to me, "Do you want one to review?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah, if you're gonna send it to me, I'll take a man thing." And they sent it to me. So yeah, Mill Creek's putting out a lot of TV movies lately and some canon stuff, and it's pretty exciting. So yeah, and the other new thing came out this week. I didn't get it yet, but Vinegar Syndrome, Forgotten Jolly 3, and it has a white dress for Marianne, which is really good. And I would recommend that movie.
Newcastle After Dark just posted their latest episode maybe a week ago, and it's The Screaming Woman.
Yeah, Mill Creek put that out this year too, and I love that movie.
Did they really?
Yeah.
With Olivia de Havilland?
Yeah.
Wow.
They put that out and The Victim in the same week. So
The Screaming Woman is so good because it's
yeah.
like no one believes her because she's such a hated person in the
Yeah.
town for being a rich bitch.
Yeah, and you keep hearing the screams coming from the grave. Yeah.
She has a marathon run scene in the very beginning when she first discovers that she can hear a woman screaming under the ground. And she takes off terrified and runs for maybe about 10 or 15 minutes straight, it seems like,
Isn't
and
that
never
one of
stops.
Tyne Daly's first movies too? She plays the maid in it, I think.
I don't remember. Is she in that?
What if only there was a site?
In The Screaming Woman?
Yeah, yeah, the Screaming Woman. Let me take a look. TV movie, 1972. A good vintage.
Yeah. Nothing Bad came out in 1972.
It's based on a Ray Bradbury story, which I did not know. You know what? I must be thinking of a different movie. She's not in it, but yeah, it is Olivia de Havilland, and
Yeah.
Walter Pigeon's in it too.
Should have been Joan.
Oh, imagine the victim with Elizabeth Montgomery. I think that's the other one that came out also in '72. And
The Screaming Woman, I was reminded the climax of The Screaming Woman features a hand from the grave.
yeah,
Just like Carrie.
yeah. Mill Creek's been putting out those. They put out Ants last month too, the TV movie. So they've been really. For years, I was like, man, someone should be putting these out on, on Blu-ray, and they've been doing it. So it's nice to have high quality copies of movies that before I could only find battered copies on YouTube. You know what makes me think about that though? Is a lot of those ones on YouTube were taped off of cable channels that no longer exist. And so like Chiller and
Yeah.
there was a Man's Action one. I can't remember the channel it is now. The one that was El Rey became, but like a lot of those channels, Sci-Fi too, were just playing old '70s stuff during the day, and it's like now they're all gone. So,
You know what? I found an old VHS rip of, and I posted it on Groovy Doom. I found, do you remember Haunted Hollywood?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was hosted by John Carradine, who was just an off-screen voice. You never saw him on camera, but instead they had all these pictures that would fade in of old Universal shock theater monsters. And I think that's mainly what they showed was the old shock theater catalog. And John Carradine narrated the bumpers. So I found one where they screened Secret of the Blue Room.
Oh, wow.
Followed by Weird Woman with Lon Chaney.
That's
Weird
awesome.
Woman's good.
I wish.
Weird Woman's an Inner Sanctum movie.
Yeah. That Inner Sanctum box set that Mill Creek put out, I should have bought it. Now it's out of print and it's so high. And I'm like, I have digital files of them, but it would be nice to have them all on, one disc just to look at. But, I'm sure I'll find it somewhere used sooner or later.
I don't know. I can't remember when it arrived, but my Shriek of the Mutilated came from Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh, have you watched
it? I finally got to sit down and watch it.
How is it?
It is gorgeous.
Is it? Oh.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Better than that movie probably looked when it was brand new in theaters. Just everything is crystal clear. It's the complete version with the full murder scene early on in the movie with the carving knife and the toaster in the bathtub.
And it has popcorn in it too, right?
And it has popcorn. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. The other big news I have, it happened right before this show. I got to interview David Wiskovich, who directed Suburban Sasquatch. And here's what's funny, Bill, I didn't tell you. He didn't know that we did commentary too. Is he and his wife did the other commentary track, Married the movie.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You guys did a commentary too." He goes, "Oh my God, I'm so excited." And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Oh man." I said, "Well, we liked it." He goes, "Oh, I don't care if you hated it." He goes, "It'd be funnier if you didn't like it." And he's like, "I'm sorry, you guys probably had to watch it like 3 times. I apologize for putting you through it." I'm like, "No, we really enjoyed it." So super nice guy. And there's some news about perhaps if you like Suburban Sasquatch, the future of who knew it was a continuing story, but it is. But it's pretty exciting, and he's a incredibly nice guy, and it was a lot of fun to talk to about movies. He said that his big influence is Burial Ground is a big influence on him, and he said he loves that movie and watches it all the time. He said it's one of his comfort movies.
That's pretty amazing. Anyone who name checks Burial Ground can't be all that bad.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, it's great because he's like, there's a little kid in it, but it's obviously not a little kid. And he goes, I just like how weird that is. And he goes, and I want to bring that same weirdness to my movies. And I was like, well, you've done it.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. So that was pretty fun. So he's going to be, that'll be on the site this week. And just before the show went up, I put up my interview with the director of another visual vengeance movie, L.A. AIDS Jabber, a.k.a. Jabber. What a crazy movie. It's about a guy who gets a blood transfusion and finds out he has AIDS. So he decides to get back on the world and start filling up needles with his blood and stabbing people with them. And I love talking to the director because he's like, we weren't really trying to offend anybody, but, trying to come up with the story. And I was like, oh, no, there's no way that story would offend anybody. But really nice guy. He's actually in Blood Diner and I can't remember the other. He was in a couple Jackie Kong movies, and he's in a bunch of Fred Olen Ray movies. So we had a good conversation about working for Jackie Kong, who was 23 when she made Blood Diner, which is pretty insane, and was married to Bill Osco at the time. So there's some.
I think everybody who was in Blood Diner has some sort of terrible story to tell.
He actually said he had a good experience. I think that's how Visual Vengeance found him, because he was one of the few actors they could find that had something nice to say. So he's on the Vestron re-release. They did an interview with him for that. And then they asked him about Jabber, and he talked about it during that. And when the boss at Visual Vengeance, Rob, saw it, he was like, oh my God, I got to get the rights to L.A. AIDS Jabber. And got it. So, I mean, yeah, it comes out. That and Suburban Sasquatch are shipping out. So if you guys want to hear Bill and I talk an entire time over a movie, that would be a good movie to get. And it's a wild package. I mean, you get stickers and posters and tons of extras. And when I talked to David, he said the thing that he was really shocked at how much better they made his movie look, because they upscaled it to, it had never been upscaled to, to 2K. And he's like, it actually looks good. He goes, I was always worried about doing more with my movies because I didn't want them to look so good that when you saw them up against other people's movies, how bad I am as a filmmaker would come out. But
well,
yeah.
What do we always say? Like, communicating is the important thing. If you can communicate a scene with any kind of technology or special effects, then you're doing most of your job.
He said the best quote he said in the interview was, he said the reason why he makes these movies is that the world kind of sucks, and he's like, if I can make something that makes somebody laugh and escape the world for 90 minutes and tell their friends how stupid this movie was, he goes, and I kind of did what I set out to do. He's like, I'm just trying to make the world a better place by making schlocky movies. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So yeah. All of his movies are on Tubi too. So if you can always get see Suburban Sasquatch on Tubi, or you can order it directly from him. He also has a doll and some shirts and some other stuff too. Yeah. And the other two, thanks for getting it, Tim. And the other two Visual Vengeance movies are out now, which are Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder from Hell, aka Japanese Evil Dead, which is real good, and the Necrophiles, which is insane. Bill, you got to watch this movie. It's something else.
The Necrophiles?
Yeah, it's on Tubi as well. Actually, all the Visual Vengeance stuff, the updated versions will be on Tubi like a month after the movie comes out. The Necrophiles is crazy. There's a zombie baby that is obviously a baby doll in it. That flies and has like a helium voice. It's about a serial killer who comes back from the dead, the cops that try to deal with it, this baby, satanic gang trying to stop the baby from getting out of hand. Yeah, it's really got something to offend everybody. It starts with them killing said baby and throwing it in a grave and peeing on it, and it comes back to life as the zombie. I don't know how that's a ritual, but yeah, it's, and also it has a Necrophos 3000, which is a puppet sequel, like a Team America Super Marionation sequel to it, which is really good too. I really loved it. And it's only like 35 minutes or 40 minutes, so it's like the perfect length. But yeah, it's real good. And Japanese Evil Dead is really good too. It's they're all shot on video and all just really fun movies. Super enjoyable. So
When did you say Suburban Sasquatch is coming out?
Next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten any social media tags.
It'll be coming. The social media stuff is going to start this week because they sent out press releases on Thursday or Friday, I think, on it. So yeah, it'll be coming up.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it.
Me
yeah,
too.
and then there'll be at least 3 other movies that Bill and I are on, but there'll be more because we've already been told there are more. So it's exciting. So there's a lot of shot on video stuff that they're getting. If there's anything shot on, I'll put the word on it. If there's anything shot on video you'd like to see them put out, they basically told me hunt weird stuff down that we've never heard of, and we'll try to get the rights to it. So
how about the Abode of Mad Tales?
That would be awesome. We should go for it. I'm trying to get them to get the rights to Nobby, the North Carolina Bigfoot movies that were shot in the 80s. But we can't find it. The guy who made them died last year in his late 90s, and we don't know if anybody has the rights to them. There's like 6 of them, too. The Abode of Mad Tales 2, isn't that supposed to be coming out at some point, Bill? Or wasn't there a plan of doing another one?
There was a plan of doing another one, and maybe if, Visual Vengeance picked up the first one, we would feel more inclined to do a second one.
Yeah, we should. That would be awesome. Or Wild Eye, the other side of them, definitely could put that out too, I think. They've been putting out some pretty crazy.
Well, I thought Visual Vengeance was the shot on video.
They are the shot on video side, yeah. So that would be good. I'll send it to them so they can see it. That's a pretty good idea. Man, Vince was at a Bigfoot Fest earlier today. Bought many DVDs.
Oh, really,
yeah.
Vince?
Then Hawking.
Did he show up?
Yeah, did he? There's a psychic fest out here, by the way, every month, Bill. I keep debating going, but I haven't gone yet. And next weekend, if you're in Pittsburgh, in Library, PA, there's going to be a horror movie flea market at the Library Volunteer Fire Department. It's like no admission. You get in, and they just have tons of tables of people selling all sorts of stuff. All Halloween, horror movie based stuff. So
where is this?
It's in Library, PA, like right outside of South Park.
Well, I know. I meant when?
Sunday afternoon. Next Sunday afternoon, the 14th.
Not tomorrow.
No, next Sunday.
/ today, however you want to refer to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. I'm sure I'll buy a bunch of stuff. When have I never?
I don't want to go anywhere near that place.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty exciting. Trying to think what else is coming out. Era put out, obviously they have the previous movies before Deathmaster. The 2 Count Yorga movies are coming out as a box set from Era, which is super exciting. And the packaging looks really
I know. That packaging's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm so excited about the packaging of it. And they do such a nice job with their stuff. And and Vinegar Syndrome's putting out a bunch more stuff. I mean, there's so much going on, always, to get. So,
always happy to see fantastic films being preserved in the digital medium.
Also,
whoever knew that we would even be able to see something like Deathbed, even today.
Also, probably you should mention there might be an issue of the zine out if everybody hasn't got it yet.
That's right. Yeah. Go to driveinasylum.com or search us on Etsy, Drive-In Asylum, and pick up the new 1981 yearbook issue of fanzine Drive-In Asylum.
It's selling like
Your fantastic film connection.
Do you think hotcakes ever really sold that well? Like people say they sound like hotcakes. It's like Was that like a new
Ooh.
thing that changed the world of pancakes?
I like hotcakes. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, we stayed at the hotel we stayed at had obviously the free continental breakfast, and they had a hotcake machine that you put your plate under and you hit a button and it just started dropping hotcakes out of it. And it was broken. Someone was fixing it, and then it just started shooting hotcakes out, which is pretty awesome.
When the hotcakes start dropping, that's when I get interested.
Start popping and dropping the hotcakes. Some lady was like, "They're really good when they work," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll just have oatmeal and be satisfied." Oh well.
So I was leading up to this. In 2 weeks, Newcastle After Dark is going to be on the show.
Oh yes.
So go check out their new video. It's The Screaming Woman, the new episode of their. They do. If you're not familiar with them already, I mean, they have many fans. I'm sure maybe everybody already knows about them. But in case you don't, there are two dapper gentlemen from Newcastle, PA, known as the Management. And there's Management Left, Management Right. We don't know their real names. And they like to talk about films that are a feast for the mind. So
They
go
always
check them
pick
out.
great movies too.
Yes, they have impeccable taste.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what they pick when they come on.
Yeah, we haven't discussed that yet. We're still collating about what the movies are going to be, but I will be sure to announce as soon as we know.
Yeah, Newcastle is a very scary place. I got arrested once in Newcastle after dark.
Ooh, did you?
Yeah. Well, I got pulled over and almost arrested. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not arrested.
Close.
You had me excited about it. I thought I was going to get a really scary
You
story.
know, you're getting like jailhouse story.
Yeah.
My women in prison story.
I wouldn't want to get pulled over in Newcastle either. I mean, you know.
Yeah. They used to have this section called the Triangle where kids would cruise. Not like cruising, but cruise.
I didn't think you meant it that way, no.
Well, yeah, I had my yellow hanky. Anyway, but yeah, we would walk around the you would drive around it, and the police would have every once in a while pull a couple kids over to stop this from happening. I got pulled over and had to come back with photo evidence that I was in the right lane and all this stuff. Not as exciting as it sounds, but you know.
Well, that's still a pretty long haul. Maybe not from where you are now.
It was still like 13 miles from where I grew up. It was pretty far, but I dated a girl there all through like let me think, first year of college to after I was done with college. So I was always driving to Newcastle.
It takes a little under an hour for me to get to Newcastle.
Yeah.
I used to have to go there all the time for work.
To the
So
Scottish Rite Cathedral.
I have that drive down pat.
Mm.
But I will say, when I went to hang out with the guys from Newcastle After Dark, they took me into places of Newcastle I had never seen before.
Mm.
It's actually the neighborhood where their set is a really nice place. It's all these mid-century style houses. It's nice and quiet, which I love.
In Shenango, which is the next town, the town between Elwood City, where I'm from, and Newcastle, there's an old hospital that they do full-time ghost tours through now. They even had a sign up about it.
Newcastle's getting some love in the chat.
Yeah, and my grandmother would go there and take orb pictures.
Oh, I love orb pictures.
There's one
picture.
picture.
You see it, man? There it is. It's right there.
One picture. My grandma was like 4'10", a little tiny redheaded woman, and my aunt would make her stand there and like take pictures with orbs surrounding her. I'm like, don't put my grandmother up against the eldritch forces of the elder gods. But
yeah, who knows what could happen?
Yeah, so yeah, they used to go out ghost hunting. My aunt's a ghost hunter. I don't talk about it enough.
Let us know if she ever finds anything.
I'm sure she has stories. I think she does it just to pick up dudes. Yeah, we tried setting Andy Stoll up with her, and it didn't work out. So
I'm shocked.
Yeah, exactly.
She must have been living.
She had to be a real person.
All right, so don't forget to hang out with us next weekend on the Drive-In Asylum double feature when we will be watching
Deathbed.
The Death Master.
And the Deathbed and the Death Master.
Right.
Yeah.
Double death.
Double death. We got the Death Master and the. I like Deathbed is. I'm good. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I'm sure you picked it up from the trailer. Bill did an amazing trailer for it. He does a great job with the trailers. But that trailer just gives you a hint of like the insane visuals that happen in this movie. Like, I know we've shown some odd movies. I would say Deathbed is one of the odder movies we've shown. It's up there.
Yeah, we're really seeing how far we can push you guys
Yeah.
by programming Deathbed. But I do believe it's something that everybody who's interested in strange films, you need to see Deathbed. If you have not already, you probably already have, if you're even at all interested. But hopefully we'll widen the Deathbed cult just a little bit.
Yeah, they had. It's funny. There was a Unimart in my hometown that had like a spinner to rent. They only had like 50 movies on the spinner. They must have bought them somewhere cheap, and for some reason, Deathbed was one of the ones that they had.
Why would Nocturna play with the Death Master? I'm curious.
Yeah.
But unless you just mean another kooky vampire movie, which it would be, that would be an interesting duo. Nocturna. Yeah. Brother Theodore's in Nocturna.
He sure is. We're going to try to show all the Brother Theodore movies.
All right. So join us next weekend. We'll be back, Sam and I, and make sure you come back and hang out with us next Saturday night. In the meantime, have a great week. Be safe and be healthy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents.